Yeah, I mean, I've done a little Hung Gar back in the day, as
Uh-huh.
I told you, and I think Wing Chun's probably like my more dominant style right now. But
Hmm.
I guess your question was like the X stance footwork, or like the I guess like that kind of like wider stance, or that's what you're asking.
Yeah, I asked my instructor why people in Wing Chun do this stance where you stand like an X. Because we have that in one of the highest forms, I think, in Hung Gar,
The
but
iron wire, is it the
I
iron
don't know
wire
the
form?
roots of it. I
Um,
think so.
I never got to that point, but so one of the main reasons why we have that stance is it's not really so much like a fighting stance, and I think I've heard some things in terms of like legends where like on the red boat, like
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they would use that stance to kind of stabilize. If they're on the boat and they're rocking, they would turn that stance inward. But mostly what I've gathered, and from my own practice as well as from my sifu, who's my uncle, what he told me was that really that stance is to bring some elasticity to your legs, and similar to Hungar, it's basic stance training. So when you're standing in that stance, it works different muscles than like if you sit in like a Hungar horse stance, for instance, right? It's just like
Mhm.
different muscles that you're contracting and whatnot. Also, what it does is it forms like a good base for some of your shifting exercises. So I'm sure you've seen on a couple of my videos where I'm shifting, to the right or left side for like hip power.
Mhm.
It's a good like base starting stance, just to do some of those shifting exercises because your feet are essentially windshield wiping.
Okay, okay. So it's, yeah, that's also what I'm thinking about because the stances we have in Hungar, the five stances, are more or less used to move around.
Hmm.
So you move from one side to another when you're fighting with your opponent. So you go over the stances. It's not supposed to stand in that stance and fight.
Right, right.
Yeah. And so I think this stance, not this X stance, maybe just for like internal training. That would make sense.
Yeah, it's definitely for internal training, like you said. You're working a lot of your breath work. You're working your posture as well, but definitely it's not a stance that you would fight in. It's also like a good stance, if you're practicing like maybe some of the more static positions when you're doing chi sao. So when you first learn chi sao, you'll be using this stance, to kind of stay rooted, and then as you progress in Chisao, obviously you're going to do footwork and you're going to be moving around a lot. So you're not going to be in that stance. And I've never seen anybody spar in that stance. If that's I've never I've never fought that stance. It's like crazy.
How would you, if you say Chisao, how would you translate that in Wing Chun?
Uh, Sticking hands.
Sticking
So
hands.
in
Okay.
Wing Chun, Chisao means sticking hands. I know in some other martial arts, Chisao could be like this type of like, you know, this type of strike over here.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, how about
Sticking. We pronounce it a little bit different. We say Qsao.
Chisao? Yeah, bridge hand, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I think that's the same principle.
Hmm.
So that you, it's not just like a hit like this, it's that you, yeah, stick with the opponent's arm or whatever, maybe it's also a leg, that you stick to it and you move into a continuous flow, so to speak. So
Yeah.
that you don't just stop like this, that you're, yeah, we say hard. Don't be hard, be soft, be nice and flowing. So that's then QSO, I think.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chisao is definitely really good. I think, yeah, some of the similarities for sure are like you said, the bridging techniques. So in Wing Chun, the second form Chum Q, it's actually like the translation is actually called seeking the bridge. And what you're doing is you're taking some of the static techniques that you learned in the first form, which is Silam Tao, and you are translating it to movement. So like whether that's weight shifting or like moving your feet a little bit, And what you're doing is, from, I guess, like that boxing stand, or from like a boxing range, or even like a kickboxing range. What you're doing is you're trying to seek that bridge so that you're in contact with your partner.
Mhm. Okay. Yes, so that makes sense. So I think also our concept is to first do the steady movement and then translate it to like a flowing pattern, so moving around. And but it's a little bit different because in Hungar we have like 5 forms, and there are some pre-forms to that. So the
Mhm.
first form, I'm sure you have heard of Gunchi Fokin.
Yeah, yeah, that's one of my favorite.
Yeah, Taming the tiger form. So that's like something we learn at the black belt status.
Mm.
That's nothing for like the beginners in my school because my Sibu and others thought the step is too big. If somebody moves into your Magoon and he wants to learn Kung Fu, then if you teach him like Nunchi Fokuhin, the step is too big. So he created like I think 3 forms to build up to that. And these forms are also, as you said, like first doing like static punches, just
Mhm.
like something like this or like this. And then if the form progresses, then you come to the second form and then to the third form, and then you slowly start to move a little bit more around.
Yeah,
So really teach first the basics of like standing around and punching.
yeah, I think that's super important. I think sometimes that's a bit overlooked, in different martial arts styles. And I think that's really cool that your Sifu's able to, break it down in such a way like that. So I guess, yeah, that's really awesome. And you're on the Gungi Fufu level right now.
Well, I'm I'm learning a little bit the movements, yes. I know like the first third, I think.
Okay. Of the Gungi
But
part or the Fufu part?
sorry,
The Gungi part or the Fufu part?
man, I don't know.
Oh, okay. So like the part that starts like, the part that basically starts like this, or the part that
Yeah,
starts like, you're doing these movements.
yeah. I'm at the stage where you then turn around and you move in the other direction.
Okay. Is it more static, or yeah, it's more movement, right? So probably like
Yeah, yeah. Basically, you just stand, you move forward, then you move a little bit to the right, to the left,
I,
forward, and then you turn, and then everything in the other direction.
I think I've seen you do it on a couple of your videos too.
Yeah, I have some of it online, yes, but I don't feel kind of good posting them because I don't know the form, to be honest, because
Mhm.
I just know the how it's done like this. Yes, I know that, but I cannot do that in like in a drill. So I
Mm.
don't understand the what it's going on really. So I'm not quite yeah. I'm not feeling good posting it when I don't know the stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Um, I mean, I don't know. I just post stuff like whatever, like, you know, who cares, man? Like people can judge. I don't really care. Um,
Man,
like,
people judge, especially in the martial arts community.
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, but I think something really important to remember is that like most people who judge, like these are people who don't really practice the arts, or their knowledge is very limited. Um,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
like I don't know. I've been doing this for, Jesus, over 20 years, like
Yeah.
martial arts in general. So, I mean, when I see people say things, I'm like, all right, sure, whatever you say, buddy. Like I've been around the block. I've done everything from jujitsu to, Hung Gar, and everything like kind of in between. And I would, I mean, for me, there's no like one right method of doing something. It's all like based on the practitioner's body, their own personal experience, who they spar with and whatnot. Um, and that's really the most important thing, getting out there and sparring different people, different martial arts styles.
Yeah, that's especially true. Yeah. Yeah. I would wonder how do you fight or how does your sparring look like?
I did show a little clip in one of my videos actually.
In the
Um,
recent ones?
one of the recent ones, yeah, it was
Yeah.
the one where I posted the secret to Wing Chun. I think at the
Yeah.
very end, posted a little clip of me and my Hing. We were sparring a little bit. Um, but yeah, unfortunately, I don't have too many sparring videos. That was like one of the rare times I took. I asked one of my Kung Fu brothers to just like record. That was all the way back in 2015, and you can see we're looking full gear. We got shin guards,
Mhm.
gloves, headgear on, and we actually used to spar with hockey pads because we would do like
Okay.
we do the oblique kicks to the knee. But if you're wearing
Uh-huh.
hockey pads, you know, a little less damage there, and you can actually kick to that or strike to the area. But of course, you know, with control because that's a very
Yeah, sure.
dangerous kick. Um, but yeah, hopefully when my knee heals up, I'll be able to do a little sparring. Um, I'm actually going to be flying out to Hawaii tomorrow, and I don't know if you guys know Sifu Nate, but I've been trying to get in contact with him. I have a friend who's one of his friends, and I might try to do something out there with him. Maybe if he gets back to me, maybe I'll do a little cheese out with him out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, nice. Cool.
And one of these days when I get back to jiu-jitsu, maybe I'll do some videos of me rolling with the guys. So we'll see. We'll see. As long as you know Sensei says it's okay to take a video, basically.
Yeah, that will also be interesting to see. I'm also playing a little bit with the thought maybe to experience some other martial arts, just
Hmm.
to like a little bit be more open-minded. But man, it's a time issue.
Yeah, totally a
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. So I would like to use, especially because I did like this Bong Sao Tan Sao stuff today. You showed in one of your videos how the Wing Chun Bong Sao looks like, and maybe we can discuss a little bit how this is different, maybe.
Yeah, sure, sure. So tell me about the Hung Gar Bong Sao, and then
So
uh,
maybe you see it. So in Hung Gar we have like this.
mm-hmm.
So you have this,
Right.
and then the arm goes from one side to the other side. We have this little turn here,
Mm-hmm.
and it's basically just for like a punch to the lower body, to the lower third, maybe to block here. But then you don't stop, obviously. So Bomsa and then Tanza.
Mm-hmm.
So you have this fast movement, and when you put it together, that's I learned that yesterday in sparring that when you have your hands like this, that you have really almost everything covered to spar with beginners, and you almost catch every hit because you can move like one hand to the bottom and one to the upside, and you almost catch everything. That's pretty interesting that it works so good in the beginning stage.
Mm-hmm.
That really amazed me. So you have this like side here and then to the upside. So it
Mm.
goes from behind to the front.
I think, yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty similar. And just speaking from my own personal experience training Hung Gar, um, my Sifu explained it like the differences between Wing Chun and Hung Gar from his own experience because he did a little Wing Chun, but he was more on the Shaolin Hung Gar side, and he actually has a ton of experience as well in other martial arts besides Shaolin and Hung Gar. But he said the main difference was that in Hung Gar, like you know what you're doing is, or from what his perspective is again, not what you're doing, obviously. Is like when you're striking it such that um, you're. It's almost like you're taking it off the line, but it's hard to demonstrate without somebody here, but you're not sticking to them so much, right? So you're doing that bong sao, right? But then you know their arm might come off you a little bit, and then you'll be doing like a different like movement, like chop choi or something like that. Whereas in Wing Chun, and I find this to be very true in Wing Chun, what you're doing is you're using it as a transition, and this is where he calls it like a uh, what was the word he used, like a oddball kung fu style, instead of like sticking to them and I mean instead of like taking the movement off of them so that you could do a different strike. In Wing Chun, what you do is you stick to them so that you can control them and feel their movement and reflex and pressure. From what I gather, like the Hung Gar that you do, it's more similar to the Wing Chun style. Or
Maybe
no?
it is. Yeah. So it is true that more or less, I would say everything is like a transition because you need to have a continuous flow.
Mm-hmm.
So my Qigong Chiu Chiling said in a video where he's teaching on the rooftops of Tokyo or somewhere, or Hong Kong, I don't know, it needs to be done in chains.
Mm.
So, and I think for me, that's one of my goals now to go a little bit more into chains because when you do a form, you do like movements, you stop, you do the next, you stop, you do the next. But for me, that's not the idea because a fight is not like this. So obviously we know we can't fight with forms, but this whole idea of going into chains and having this continuous flow is like you said, yeah, a transition movement to the next thing. And this, I think this is really difficult. At least for me, I don't know if you have had experiences like this or.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely really difficult. Something that I think really helps with that sort of transition movement is actually the practice of chi sao, the sticking hands.
Yeah.
So in Wing Chun, there's a couple progressions, right? So you have like your static movements where you're just practicing your forms, practicing like solo, kind of like what you see me doing in a lot of the videos. I'm just doing solo drills. Then the next step up after that is, you're doing pad work with a partner, or you're doing partner practice. So you're doing like drills where you have like compliant drilling. So you know what's coming. You're either conditioning your arms, your legs, whatever, or that's kind of like the next step up. After that, what you'll be doing is you'll be doing like chi sao, like more free flow chi sao, which is still like a semi-compliant drill. There's a certain rules that you're playing by.
Mm.
You're not, there's no takedowns. There's, you're touching. You have a starting position, um, and then beyond chi sao is kind of like the sparring. So the free form sparring. So free form sparring is just whatever kind of goes.
Mm.
Those are kind of like the stepstone progressions that we have in uh, the Wing Chun that my uncle showed me, at least.
Okay. I think that's pretty a good explanation. I did a video on YouTube where I just reflect how my training or how our training in my school looks. So I called it a complete guide to or a full martial arts workout, something like this,
Mm-hmm.
where I explained every step from our martial arts workout, our Kung Fu workout, what we have in class. And it's exactly like this. So you first learn really the forms and just the movements, basically. And then you go to the drills where you have this preset. Okay, punch from the right side, you do this, punch from the left side, you do this. And then you move into a little bit more free drills. So you move around a little bit, so maybe both hands. And then in the last stage, you come to this point where you have this free sparring.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we need to do that. We need to do that with every movement or with every technique a little bit to experience if something works or not.
Totally, totally. Actually, in my last video, I maybe I didn't articulate it as well, or um, maybe like the movement that I was doing it with wasn't fast enough, so it didn't catch the algorithm. But I actually gave like a little tip for that that my uncle gave me.
Uh-huh.
And what it is like he said that like whenever you're sparring, you're doing chi sao or any sort of randomized drill, you want to incorporate like some sort of focused training. So say for instance, like, there's like one kick I want to do. Maybe it's like a skip hook kick, or maybe like I'm trying to work on my, you know, hitting my oblique kick or my pakda or like, side kick or something. He said, just choose one technique and then build around that. So use every other movement that you have and set it for that technique and create like a mini game. See how many times you can hit that move.
Mhm. Okay,
And
that's
what I
maybe something I didn't thought about. Yeah. Uh-huh. Go on.
and what I found was that like what it really does is it makes you get a lot more creative with your movements, and it makes you like problem solve too, because after a while, the person, might start seeing, oh, they're just throwing side kicks. Like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to
find a
like,
solution to that.
right? So then, so then you have to start thinking about, okay, how am I gonna set it up, right? Am I gonna throw a jab? Am I gonna fake a side kick, and then like, do a spinning back kick, or something like that. So just like playing around with that sort of thing, I think has really helped me a lot in my own sparring.
Hmm. That's a pretty good idea. Yeah. I think I'm taking that with me for the next time.
Yeah, give it a shot and let me know how it
Yeah,
goes. Uh,
yeah.
I think you're gonna find that you're gonna grow exponentially.
Maybe, yeah.
Seriously, seriously. That was my own experience at least. I was just
Okay,
passing people like fast. Just
okay,
it's very
hmm,
interesting.
okay. So what do you plan today? You said you're going to train now on Zoom later on?
Yeah, yeah. So my old Shaolin, Hung Gar, and Salat instructor. So those were the three different disciplines I mostly studied in Pinjot Salat, Hung Gar, and Lohan Kung Fu or Lohan Shaolin system. Um, he has like a Zoom class now, and he's all the way up in New Jersey where I used to live. And now that I'm in Florida, he has like a little Zoom class
Okay.
week. So I get jump on there and you know just do a little workout with him, even though it's kind of virtual. It's good because it's cardio and a nice refresh on my form. So I'm hopefully
Hmm.
getting my forms back.
Yeah. So, but normally you train with your uncle, you said. It's not because you have lockdowns or something because of Corona.
Oh yeah, yeah. Actually, I mean, normally these days I just train on my own at home. Um,
Okay.
but every now and then I'll fly back up and I'll train with my uncle. So my uncle has a school in Philadelphia, and
Okay.
that's where I used to train beach at. And um, yeah, his school's, I would say it's like more akin to like a Wingchun school with like a base, but it's a lot of what we do is like MMA there in a way. So he'll
Okay.
incorporate wrestling, judo, boxing, and his main systems were Yoshikan Aikido, Tangsudo Mudokan, and of course Wing Chun. And then in high school he wrestled and did some boxing as well. So he kind of throws everything into the mix.
Everything into the, okay. So it's
So
like a more or less like an MMA gym
kind of
where you
like
mix everything up and just do whatever it comes.
yeah, I mean, like when we spar, it's definitely like more akin to MMA sparring. That's why you see. I don't know if you saw that last clip that I had, but you'll see like on the floor we have like the mats. Those are like
Hmm.
Olympic uh, mats. I forget what you call them, but that's because we do like a lot of break falling and we do a lot of throwing too, and sweeps, and we'll do groundwork as well. So we try
Okay.
it, we try to keep it well rounded. I think like his philosophy is that what he likes to do is this is like an analogy he gave me. He's like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a bunch of tools, and then I'm going to build your toolbox up. And what you need to do is you need to, when you spar, you need to figure out which tool to take out.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
So
Yeah, it's something pretty clever.
yeah, he never really gave us like a designation, like this is for this or this is for that. It was more like concept based, like here, like I'm going to show you this throw, or I'm going to show you this joint lock, or I'll show you this kick or whatever, right? But then it's not just confined to this one situation. Experiment with it, play with it, see how you can use it in different ways.
It's also something my instructor says from time to time. Be playful in a way that you try
Yeah.
to, if you have like this idea of a technique, you know how it works with your partner, and you use it, and maybe if you be a little bit creative, you find something else how you can use it. But most of the time, that's really hard without external help, I think,
Oh, definitely, definitely.
because you have to see then, like from the outer perspective, how this is going to work. And I think you can do this, yes, but you have also to, well, maybe like 3 partners, you do like the application with one, or you do like the drills with one, and the other partner then looks from the outside and makes, oh, okay, maybe here you can also do like this. And then you're starting to think about does it make sense? Maybe we try, okay, it's not going maybe like this, and okay, maybe here we have something fun. So this is like playing around like a little child, or like a little child almost. Yeah, that's also something interesting.
Have you ever done like technical sparring before? Because that's what it sounds like you're describing.
We don't call it technical sparring. I would say light sparring, maybe. Light sparring
Yeah,
more on the
yeah,
technical side. Yes.
yeah. So like, yeah, that's exactly what it is. You're lightly sparring. You're not really going for blows, right? You're just
No.
what you're doing is you're just doing movements. You're working on, like you said, being playful and kind of experimenting
Hmm.
for sure.
And also something that's pretty hard to achieve when you do like this free flow sparring, or this technical sparring, that you don't take this like preset mindset that you have from a technique,
Mhm.
and now you're thinking, you're standing like there. Now, when the punch is coming from the left side, I'm gonna do this. When the punch is coming from the right side, I'm gonna do this technique. And this, I don't know if you have this like thoughts also when you do this, that you are also already preset, that you are knowing what you are gonna do when something happens. Do you have that?
I think like I think when I'm doing like light sparring, that's like a little slower. I'll be like thinking about different things like that in that sense
Mm-hmm.
where I'm like, okay, if he throws his jab, I'm gonna, maybe like step to the inside and then, throw a side kick or something like that. But if it's more, if it's like faster paced, maybe we're doing like medium contact. I hardly do full contact anymore, to be honest, because I'm a bit old now. But if it's a little faster, usually it's just kind of reaction and like if they throw something, I kind of take what they give me and I roll with it in that sense.
Mm-hmm. Because I find this pretty hard and pretty interesting, because I will consider me also as a beginner, because when something comes that you don't expect, most people just do it. They're like shocked and freezed because they didn't expect and they don't know what to do. But that happens because they were taken off guard, because they had an idea in their minds, like the jab is coming right side, and then it comes from the left side, and they're freezed. Oh fuck! What I'm gonna do now?
Yeah, no, no,
Right.
no, I definitely get that. I think when I was, especially when I was doing like more of the Shaolin and the Hung Gar side, my hands definitely weren't as good as my feet. Um, Wing Chun actually gave me my hands.
Yeah, really?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. Like my feet are really good from like the Shaolin, Pinjat Salat, Hung Gar area, and like kind of anywhere from like the boxing range to the kickboxing range. I felt comfortable. I could move in and out in that
Mm-hmm.
sense. But as soon as somebody started overwhelming me with like combinations of like three or more, I would have some difficulty in being able to find my hands and like you said, knowing what to do and how to counter it. Um, and that's where I feel the Wing Chun has really helped me really develop that sensitivity and reaction time through the Chi Sao training. Because when you're doing Chi Sao, you're very close. You're on top of each other. It's one step. It's like I would say actually, it's like a half step away from grappling. Um,
My instructor always says kissing distance.
yeah, yeah, like kissing. And when you're in that range, you're not actually looking so much. You'll as you'll start finding out, like when you're in that range, really what you're doing when you're Q-Sal, when you're seeking the bridge or in Chum Q, in that sort of context is that you're feeling, right? So you're feeling like where your opponent's body weight is moving to, and you're reacting to that in a sense.
Mhm. Yeah, my instructor describes something pretty the same. He says when your hands are in front of you, they are like your information gatherers.
Yes,
Like
yes.
with cues that when some resistance comes, you know, oh, okay, now you can go like this, and you get the information where the pressure is coming.
Mm-hmm.
So
100%.
I think there's also some principles of CUSA or GISA.
Yeah, I think that's like definitely a similarity that both have in common, where
Yeah,
you feel the pressure and you're letting your reflexes take over at that point.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Do you guys ever do any like blindfold sparring or training or whatnot?
What do you mean by blindfold?
Like blindfold, like blind, like one person's
Like,
blind. Yeah, yeah, blind.
no, never.
Yeah, yeah, that's it's really interesting, man. You
Yeah,
should play around with it. Not like go crazy hard or anything, but um it's very interesting because when you start doing blindfold stuff, for me at least, like the first 5 minutes are like kind of awkward. But then after like 5 minutes or so, like I start adapting and I start, listening, being able to hear things and like it's crazy like how your other senses can gather information other than your vision.
I just I'm trying to imagine it or to capture it that you don't see and you should like deflect punches or what?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
totally.
I don't.
Totally. You should give it a try, I'm telling you, because
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna suggest that. Definitely, yeah. Okay.
you're gonna be like your hearing is gonna come in. You're gonna be like, you're definitely gonna swing and miss a couple times, but um, it's gonna be a fun ride. I guarantee it.
Yeah, maybe for the person who was punching, yeah.
And also like in when we're doing like more like sticking or reflex training, I would say that's like probably like a little more common where like we're already in contact and then we're blindfolded. um, that's probably a little easier because you have that reflex, but you're still using your ears a lot, which is crazy.
Okay. That's funny. I just remembered we had this girl or this woman that was in my school. Now she moved back to Italy because of her job. And before she started Hung Gar, she did like Northern Shaolin something. I don't know. Sorry.
Hmm.
And she said she or they were doing this kind of they were doing this blindfolded things. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm gonna suggest that.
It's a really interesting type of trading for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit more about I guess some of the Hung Gar techniques that you've been learning. Like, I'm just very curious. Like, what has your like instructor mostly been focused on? Um, like, how does he like break? How does he break out down some of the forms? Because you said that like he's maybe taking different techniques from like Gungi Fu or maybe like Fu Kyun, maybe like translating them into like simpler, like more basic movements for you guys to start at as a progression. Um, how does that translate from the form to your sparring?
So first, what I have to say, my instructor, he's into Hung Gar, I think 17 years now,
Wow, that's awesome.
and he's still at Gunchi Fokuhin.
Wow,
He has not progressed over.
wow.
So I can't say anything about Fuhok Senginkun. Um, but what we do is like we have this maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes in class where we do the forms. So he says, then, okay, now everybody go to his place, have your stand, do your forms, do the first form, then do the second, and then do the third, and then go to the form like that you're working on currently, that you want to improve.
Hmm.
So this is the first. And then we come together, we can ask questions and stuff. And what we then do is, or what he does is he takes some applications out of these forms and we do them in like a partner formation. So 2-on-2. And we just try to practice this, but in a set pattern, like the punches come from the right, you're doing now the application, exactly like this. And then if you do that for a couple of weeks, then you can go a little bit freer, you can maybe move around a little bit more, and you can also mirror it to the other side, that you then can do like the butterfly hands to this side, and then you can do them to this side.
Mm.
But it's still set, so you know, okay, we're going to practice now right side, we're going to practice now left side. And then the next step is then like the free kind of sparring, but light sparring for sure, that you try to use it then completely free, so that you don't know where the punch is coming from. And most of the time, this is like failing because you then need to go back and do more of the set things, and you then progress further and further. But he always says, if you have 1 out of 10 right, completely fine. Maybe the next time you got 2 out of 10, that's good. The next time, maybe again, just 1 out of 10, and it's completely good. As long as you move towards like this 9 out of 10 you can catch, that's perfect. So that's like the way how we try to learn, yeah, techniques outside of the forums.
Oh, cool, cool. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
No. I say that because it's very similar to my previous training, like with my Shaolin instructor. He did like kind of a very similar breakdown where, you know, he shows like a set movement and then gradually lets you become a little more free.
Mm.
Whereas
I think
my uncle's just like, go for it. Totally different philosophy, totally different philosophies, you know?
yeah. Where is he from, or where are you from originally? Because I think my Sigong, he's from Hong Kong, and I think that's
Sorry.
like the Hong Kong mentality. Just do it. Let's see. Let's try. Come on. I think
Yeah.
that's a different mentality from the east to the west.
Interesting. Wait, so you cut out for a split second. Your Sigong Chu Chi Ling. He says
Yeah.
how does he do it? How does his
It's
mentality?
just so as far as I know, it's just like testing and trying out. So let's go.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
show something and then let's go. Like you said, not this progression from first this, then that, and then we go to the next step.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think that's a mentality difference between like the East and the West.
I don't know so much about that because I feel like in boxing and jujitsu, which are I would consider like more Western, it's very
Mhm.
simple. Like you know, like the first time I stepped into jujitsu class, it was just like, all right, start rolling with a brown belt. I'm like, holy shit, whoa, you know, and like I was getting submitted left and right, but it was wild, you know. Like I didn't know anything. Of course, I watched like a couple of YouTube things, so I knew like a couple of different, you know, like escapes and whatnot. But it was mostly me just trying to fend for my life there. But they just kind of like throw you into the fire, like let's go. So
Okay.
yeah, I don't know. Long story short, I don't know if it's an East versus West thing. Maybe it's just based on the instructor.
Okay. Maybe it's more in the traditional martial arts like this.
Hmm.
Would you agree to that?
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think, yeah, maybe in some traditional martial arts, like you said, it's like more the progression where they show you like almost like a memorized technique, and then you gradually become more free with it, like you were saying.
Mhm.
Do you ever find it very difficult, like when you're in your own school, to like get a technique off on somebody else because they know the same technique? Like you're trying to do something, and they're like, ha, "I already know what you're doing, so I'm going to avoid it."
Yes, with my instructor. Yesterday we had this situation where I tried to go into like punch his belly, and then somehow he managed to open myself, and I stood there like this, and then I saw the fist coming in like this.
Oh wow.
So I don't know how he did it, but he avoided somehow my punch there and just caught me off guard. And my mouth guard just like not flow out of my mouth, but it's like, you know.
Wow, that sounds like a heavy hitter there.
It was, but I learned something.
Yeah, man. I definitely don't spar like that anymore. It's been a long time since I sparred kind of heavy. But yeah, I think it's I think something about hard sparring and kind of the reason I've moved away from it is because all the more recent information about concussions and CTE and whatnot. Um,
Okay.
and this is really coming from somebody who grew up, kind of like in the hard style mentality where, when you spar, you're gonna go at it. You're gonna throw blows, you're gonna strike really hard. And I've been knocked out twice in sparring. Um,
Mhm.
I've broken my nose, like, I've
Okay.
knocked a couple people out. So like I know what it is to spar hard. And um, yeah, I mean I kind of have to start agreeing with that mentality that sparring hard might not be the way to go anymore. I think it's
Mhm.
valuable to like know what your limit is, but having done that, and you've done it as well, like the human body can take a lot of punishment, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's good in the long run.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And some things that I find pretty cool about traditional martial arts, maybe it's also with your experience like this, when you go into like a school, or at least it's like this in my school, everybody can get something out of it respectively to their age.
Mm.
So I'm one of the more younger people there, but we also have like people that are in their 50s or even their 60s. We kind of all do the same, but everybody gets something else out of the class.
Mm.
So for the guy that's maybe 50 or 60 years old, it's more on the like staying flexible, being healthy, move the body. And for people like me who are a little bit younger, it's maybe more into this fighting and sparring experience and learning the techniques.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that I don't know if that's also in like Western martial arts like this. I hardly imagine a guy like 55 years old walking into an MMA gym and getting something valuable out of this lesson. I don't know, maybe, maybe not. But I know from experience that in my school it's like this. And
I think
this is something pretty valuable. Yeah, that's cool.
I think it's probably pretty similar. I mean, I've joined like a Muay Thai gym and a Jiu-Jitsu gym, and I think the key thing is like talking to your partner, talking to like how you want to train. Like, hey, like I'm a little older, take it easy on me, buddy. Like, let's not go full on, that sort of thing. So I think as long as you kind of communicate that to your partner, um, most times I found that people are very respectful of that. Um, and now I'm gonna have to start communicating. Hey guys, I have a torn meniscus in my knee. Let's take it down a notch for me a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, yeah, like definitely the older you get, like you said, I think you start scaling back on the hardness a little bit, and you start doing it more for health benefit and just keeping in shape and whatnot.
Yeah, it's also perfectly fine. I mean, yeah. So what are your worst injuries that you have had in martial arts?
Probably my worst injury was my torn meniscus. I actually
Okay.
in this I was sparring in my Shaolin class, and my training partner, he did kind of it was like a bit of a dirty move. He stepped on my foot, and then he swept me. So I had
Okay.
nowhere to go, and my meniscus, that was my original injury with my meniscus that I tore. So that was probably my worst one.
Okay.
How about you?
I had an injury last, I think it's now a year ago,
Mm.
where I fought Late Thai, and yeah, I think it was in the Late Thai match, and I did a normal kick, a normal front kick, but I was too slow, and my opponent could grab my feet and turn me around so
Ooh,
that I fall on my shoulder.
yeah. Wow.
And then I had, I think, the joint here on the top. and the tendon that comes from the biceps here were like torn, and I don't know if it wasn't completely ripped off, but some tendons were a little bit ripped, and they couldn't like proper train for half a year, maybe seven
Holy
months.
cow. That's a
Yeah,
that's a wow, that's horrible.
yeah, that was horrible. But I was lucky to find a good physio, and he like showed me some pretty cool exercise that I can do in the gym and also like in Kung Fu that it builds up again. Because now when you have something that's like broken or weak and you can't train, that's also make something with your mind, man.
Oh
That's
yeah, for sure, for sure.
I think that's the harder side from an injury. It's not really that you can't do something, but you know you could do, but your body says no, you don't, man. You don't now.
And you
Um,
got to respect that so your body can heal up, right?
yeah,
That's like the most difficult part I've been finding. Like I've been out for like it's almost been like close to 3 months. I haven't really like done any sort of contact training, and it's like eating at me, man. I'm like, oh my god, this is I'm missing it.
yeah. And you also get the feeling like, am I losing now everything that I've worked for? Well, for sure you
Definitely,
don't, but
I definitely feel that way sometimes. Um, I mean, but it's kind of like riding a bike, right? Like you're going to be not as good for the first 2 or 3 weeks, but then your experience and your muscle memory is going to kick back up, and you're going to get it back. So,
yeah, exactly. It's coming back, even
yeah.
faster than the first time.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty cool. So,
Do you guys do any training with like iron rings or anything like that?
um, we don't know, or no, we don't. But I think my CHINGs or the instructors, which are on a pretty high rank, they do, yes.
Oh, nice.
But I think that's more of an advanced
Mm,
thing. I don't know. I don't know. The school that I'm going doesn't even have rings. So in Switzerland, we have like 10 schools that are under the same, like, yeah, main school. And mine, which I'm going to, yeah, we don't have rings now. But the main school has, yeah, I know that. Yeah.
because I was just kind of reminiscing back to my days when I was training Hung Gar, and
Mhm.
I remember one of the coolest things was the iron ring training. Dude, it's
Yeah.
difficult. Like doing your form and keeping it, solid and still in your arm is like not only is it a shoulder workout, but it's like very difficult just to balance it on your arm.
I've never done it personally. I always think like, why don't the rings come off?
Oh, they do. They do if you're not careful.
They do, yeah.
They totally come off. Then you get looks like those dirty looks like that guy is dropping the rings.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe I should get some rings and do some training with those.
Yeah, same, same. I definitely want to do that a little bit.
Mm.
But man, how's it? You're out in Switzerland, right?
Yeah, exactly.
How's the weather out there right now?
Pretty amazing. Blue sky.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I definitely want to come out there and do some training with you and your crew for sure. So
Yeah. Hit
I
me
want
up.
to figure out, kind of the best time to visit because I'm sure in the winter it gets pretty cold, right? Or not so
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, at my place, yeah, it can have maybe, yeah, like this much
Okay.
snow. Yeah. Well, it's not like Arctic cold or something. It's okay. But maybe
Reasonable.
when you come from Miami, yeah, you are cold.
True, true, true. Yeah, dude, you gotta come down to Miami sometime. I'd love to host you and do some training with you down here. That'd be super fun.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool. Do you ever have snow in Miami in the winter or
No, it's way
no?
too warm here. I would say probably the coldest it gets in Miami is about I'm not sure about what it is in Celsius, but probably 45 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay. I have actually no idea what this is. It says this.
Definitely above, way above freezing. So,
Okay.
but I grew up in New Jersey, and we would get, we get a decent amount of snow. Sometimes I would say like 4 or 5 feet at least once a year
Mhm.
on a
Ah, that's
snowstorm.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, cool, man. It was really awesome catching up, and I hope we can continue this conversation, do it again or something.
Yeah, that would be cool, yeah. I think so. Huh?
Yeah,
I don't know if we can download the live stream from Instagram. Can you do that?
I think you can.
Yeah, okay. Maybe if you are okay with this, maybe I'm gonna put it on YouTube.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Post it up, put it on YouTube. That's cool.
Yeah, maybe if I find a way, that would be cool. Huh?
Awesome, man.
Yeah,
Well,
thank you.
look forward to checking it out on YouTube. It's quite a lengthy video. We've been chatting for over an hour, huh?
Yeah, man, that's gonna increase watch time.
Hell yeah, hell yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, can't wait to see your YouTube channel grow and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. All right, man. Hey,
Okay.
have a good one, and yeah, definitely hope to do some training with you in the near future. And I sincerely mean that. I definitely want to, either take a trip out to Switzerland or maybe you can come down here to Miami and we can do some training and sparring and whatnot. That'd be super
Yeah,
cool.
that would be very cool, man. Just hit me up, yeah. We keep in touch.
Absolutely. All right, man. Have a good one.
Super. Bye, ciao.
Catch you later.